Okay. So I really stink. I kind of, maybe forgot to upload this yesterday. Saturday. Supposed to be the weekly thing, but my Saturdays are always hectic, and I forgot because I'm a wonderful person. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go over Aurelion. The Star Forger. Magic without a doubt. Style without a doubt. Yes. Um Yeah, honestly, all that seems perfectly right. There's nothing there that I shouldn't be there. Difficulty, I can agree with this. Aurelion Sol once graced the vast emptiness of the cosmos with celestial wonders of his own devising. Now he is forced to wield his awesome power at the behest of a space-faring empire that tracked him into servitude. Desiring a return to his star-forging ways, Aurelion Sol will drag the very stars from the sky if he must, in order to regain his freedom. Okay, let's go over his abilities. Center of the universe. Stars orbit Aurelion Sol, dealing magic damage when they hit an enemy. Star Surge. Aurelion Sol creates an expanding disc which explodes to stun and damage enemies when it comes too far away from him. Celestial Expansion. Aurelion Sol pushes his stars farther out, magnifying their damage. Comet of Legend. Aurelion Sol gains speed while moving in one continuous direction, and he can take off flying for a long distance. Voice of Light. Aurelion Sol projects a blast of pure starfire, damaging and slowing all enemies caught in it, and knocking nearby enemies back to a safer distance. Now, Aurelion Sol is honestly one of my favorite champions in the game. Now, I want to buy him and play him because I love his kit. I'm not that good at it. He is a difficulty 3 champion, and he definitely takes all that difficulty. But I love the way his kit is. I love his passive. I think it's very difficult to farm with, though. Honestly, it is very difficult to farm with. But besides that, I love it because you don't even need to be the team fight is based off of you and your W over anything else. Because his W increases the range, so when you're in a team fight, it's really just you flinging out your Q and stunning groups of enemies while just hitting them with the range of your W. And if someone tries to get on top of you, then you just ult. So his big weakness is assassins getting on top of him though, but he can easily stop it just by being no, and just ulting them away. So there is that, but what was I going to say? But I don't really like his E all that much. Now, I understand why he has it, because something that you're capable of doing with him is starting your ult on one side of the map, and then by the time you get to the other side, your Q is not starting your ult, starting your Q, and it'll turn into a gigantic ball that does have a max distance, or a max size, because it gets farther the farther it is out. But it explodes when it just gets too far away from you or when you reactivate it. But because of that, you can go across the entire map and it will become huge, and you can get a 5-man stun. So that's the main reason why he have his E. But I wish his E was more of a mini ghost instead of what it is currently. I don't like the continue going in a straight line just gives you more movement speed, because the only time you're ever going in a straight line is when you're heading back to lane, and that's really just about it. And they did change it, because originally his E was going in a straight line gives you more movement speed, and it builds up in a bar. And when you fill up the bar is when you can actually activate your E. Before, you could only activate your E when the bar was full. But now you can just activate it whenever it's off cooldown. But so I am happy about that. But I just wish that it's kept the going in a straight line movement speed thing just to help you get back in the lane, or to help you just get back into the jungle, whatever the heck you're doing. But I wish that instead of just forcing you to go into a straight line, it was just more of a mini ghost. Now, I can understand why that would be really strong, because that would cause like him to be able to just like activate that, and then he can run away from and he can do exactly that. He can just like run away from people and use his stars a lot more efficiently, especially because it's just like a base ability. But at the same time, like it wouldn't really be something that you want to like. We could put it at like a higher cooldown. Like meditate for Master E is at like a 20 something second cooldown at level 1. We could put this at like a 20-second to maybe 30-second cooldown at level 1. And then with cooldown reduction and everything, it'd get to like 15 and all. But like 15 is still a pretty big cooldown. And it doesn't have to be like an actual like what a ghost is. It could be like a slowly scaling upward. Like upon activation, it increases your movement speed by a max of like 25%, and every second it goes up 5% until it gets to 25%. Something like that I think would be more preferable over like the straight line, because the straight line thing only helps in getting away. Whatever the heck. So, like, let's say people are chasing you. You can just activate your E in a random direction and you fly away. To be truthful, I think damage might potentially stop you flying, so even then it wouldn't really be useful. And to use for your Q to build up your Q. But then, like, what if you shoot your Q and you shoot your E in 2 different directions? Like, on accident, they're slightly contradicting. That will cause your Q to blow up sooner. Or you could do something like the people move out of your Q range, and like you keep Eing onward. So I think they would have a lot more functionality as just increasing your movement speed. Because then like you could use it to get away from people. You could use it to build up the Q, but you could also use it like to outplay people, to move, to dodge their abilities, and like make your stars hit them while you're dodging them. Like, I think that'd be a really cool idea. Another thing is I wish that his stars did moved faster based off of his movement speed, which I know I just said that his E would kind of be a bit strong if it was movement speed instead of a line, but still, because this would make that even stronger. I think that might be a bit too strong if we do the E thing at the same time. I still want it to be done, but I think it might be a bit too strong. So if anything, you'd have to like lower the scalings or make it so that his E movement speed doesn't count towards his passive. But I wish that they moved faster based off movement speed. Now, they honestly could potentially do that currently, but I do not know entirely. But I do not believe they do. I think they have a set amount of speed. And another thing that I think is a bit stupid, I can understand why they do it, but at the same time I think it's a bit stupid, which is that his stars show even if he's in a bush. Like, there's been quite a few, I'm pretty sure, I don't think it is like that currently, but Singed. Singed has a poison line behind him whenever he has like his Q activated. And because of that, when he goes into a bush, it just disappears. So you have no idea where the poison is. You need to avoid it when you can't even see it, and then somehow get into the bush and kill him when you're poisoned for a very long amount of time. So I honestly, if like Singed poison can be invisible, I think so can his stars. Now I do understand it because like towards later in the game, when he will be a bit more tankier, because you want to get like health tank or like AP health tank items on him, and he will do increased damage. Yes, it would be nice to know, oh, he's in this bush, but at the same time, like the kill bushes exist for a reason. Like, whenever an Ari is just sitting in a bush and you walk towards the bush, she just ease out, you get charmed, and then you die instantly because the entire foreman was in there. But, like, Aurelion Sol couldn't even do that. If anything, he would shoot his Q out and be like, haha, you are now stunned, and then you just die instantly. But at least with like Aurelion Sol, if you see that he's in the game, you could potentially do something like see that you took some damage and you know that Aurelion Sol's in the game, be like, oh no, Aurelion Sol. Now, I do think that it would be a bit stupid in some cases because, like, with his W increasing the range, he could, like, get into, like, one of the side bushes in, like, a lane, and then he'd hit you from a farther distance. But if anything, have it so that when he's in his normal passive circle, like, those can't be seen in a bush, but when he's in his W is activated, then they become more like, then they become more ability-oriented things, and they're actually, whatever the heck they call it, then they can be visible. Now, yes, this would all require a lot of programming, but, Riot Games is paid to make a good game, so, they should be able to program it. I think his Q is perfect the way it is. I don't think it does too much damage. I don't think it does too little. I think it is pretty reasonably hard to land, but it is an AoE stun, so it really should be. I do think the fact that it gets bigger over time, like, really works well with his kit. And yeah, I also think the same with his W, like increasing the damage and being bigger is completely fine. Like, he is very annoying in lane, but at the same time, if you are inside of his W circles and you are capable of, like, weaving in and out, it's very easy to outplay him. Especially if you have, like, any sort of dash, you just destroy him, unless he ults. But then at the same time, like, if you dash towards him and he ults you out, then he has to use his W to hit you from that range, and you could just walk away, or you could use your dash again to walk away, or jump back in on him, or you could flash back in on him, or flash away. Now, I don't like the idea of, oh, the only counterplay you have is a summoner spell, because I don't really like the idea of, like, major counterplay using summoner spells. But, like, it is still available and it is something you can do, so I'm going to mention it. So yeah, I think his W is fine. I think that his Q, the damage it does is honestly fine. If anything, I don't know if it does, but I don't believe it does. I wish it did bonus damage to minions and monsters, and I think it should do bonus damage to minions and monsters. Now, yes, it would make his like clear a lot faster, but at the same time, it would make it a lot better. And that is one of the big things that I think is very difficult and stupid on Aurelion Sol, is how difficult it is to farm on him, because like your movement is your farming. It's kind of like Draven, but 10 times harder. Because, like, when you think of Draven and throwing his axes, like, a big way that you can get caught out is by trying to, like, catch your axe while you're just regularly farming, but then they, like, booby trap where the axe is going to land, so you, like, attempt to grab it, and then you get stunned, and then you're dead. But, like, in this, you can't really tell where you're going to go, but you can tell that they're going to stay in the range, or that you're going to stay in that little circle. And when it's on in just, like, his big or the passive like this, like, that is a tiny range. To be truthful, like, you don't really realize that these things are going to hit you. Like, these, it doesn't actually, like, look like it, but it is, like, just snagging you. But, yeah. So, like, it's really not all that big. So if they can tell that you're going to be that distance away with minions, it's pretty difficult to farm with that. So I think that it should do slightly bonus damage to minions. And also, I think that it should, whatever the heck it's called, it should get, what I was saying earlier with bonus speed, like how fast this spins, that is a set amount. I wish that, like, the more movement speed he has, the faster this goes. So if he gets, like, boosts of Swifties, it's going pretty fast. Now, I'm not saying, like, they moving at the speed of light, but at the same time, I think, like, if you get willing to go movement speed, they should go a little bit faster. No, it doesn't have to be, like, I'm not saying, like, a large scaling, as I was saying before, but just, like, a little bit faster. QW just fine. His E should increase his movement speed, and that would work really well with his passive. Maybe too well in a sense, but still pretty well. And then his ult is another thing that I think is just fine the way it is. Because, like, it slows, it helps with your W, it helps get enemies off of you. It is really, like, the only assassin survival method you have, except for your Q. It can be easily like comboed with your Q. Then you can like use your W right afterwards, so they're slowed. You can then stun them. You have your W up, so you hit them with a few of those. You're strafing back and forth. You activate your new E, which increases your movement speed. Plus, it's making them get hit faster by your W. So just honestly, like the kit that I thought of. Now, yeah, it's just like little tweaks from what he is now, but I think that it would really improve Aurelion Sol and increase how much people play him, because right now he's a really underplayed champion. And yeah, but he is still one of my favorites. So I am a little bit biased of I think that he should get more play and a bit more thought about him. But yeah, and he really is a very unique champion, honestly. And then skins. Now, he only has two. He is a very new champion. There is his base skin, and then there is Ashen Lord, Aurelion Sol. I think that the Ashen Lord is cool looking, but could be a lot better. Like, I don't think his entire skin should just be like all this white. And I think that there should be a lot more like magma about him, like down his entire back to the end of his tail. His tail's like burning in fire. Have like magma bits down his like legs and like his arms a little bit, like coming out from underneath the armor over here type deal. That would probably look a bit cooler. Put like more of him on fire. And like a skin that I would love to see is like the Chinese New Year type skins, and like just seeing him as like one of the those types of dragons. Now he is one of those types of dragons, like anyway, like if you look at him, but he still could just be like a lot more. He's not like fully one of those types of dragons because they have like I don't know how to describe them, but he is similar to them. And if we make it so that he like actually is one, oh, I think that would look cool. And also, I would love to see what they do for like a project skin on him. Now, just actually, yeah, maybe Battlecast would probably suit him better. But nonetheless, like a project battle skin, just like seeing him in that robot form. I don't really like the mecha skins all that much because I think they're just lower quality project skins, honestly. And I think like the Battlecast skins are just like the definition of evil robots. So if anything, I think he would suit better a Battlecast skin over a project. But still, I just want to see him as a robot and see what his little like spinning balls would look like also as a robot. And yeah, that's really it. So just like the Chinese New Year one I want to see, and like a Battlecast one would definitely make me a happy camper. And that is Aurelion Sol, the Starforger. Yet again, I'm very sorry for this being late. I might as well just make it Sunday. I've done it 2 days in a row on Sunday. But yeah. And to all of you who enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have anything to like say about what I've said about Aurelion Sol with like its abilities and everything, please leave a comment. I'll be glad to like read it and like try to understand what you're saying, or if you want to have like a discussion about what you're saying or about what I was saying, completely fine. I might not get back right away, but I swear I'll get back as soon as I see it. Unless I'm like really busy as I see it, but so as like as soon as I possibly can. And like I'm all for constructive criticism, so if you want to criticize me, go ahead. But constructive criticism, so make sure you're actually saying like, oh, I don't like this because of such and this. I don't like this. Not saying I don't like this because it's just bad. Because like, why is it bad? And if you happen to be or know anyone in Riot Games, do not be shy to tell them about this video, because I want to like tell them to like get their opinion on it. I would like to see like if my ideas are actually pretty reasonable, if they were maybe thinking about them already, or if potentially like they could actually come and talk to me and be like, hey, what are any of your other ideas? We kind of like this one. So yeah, if you could do that, I would be very, very appreciative. So thank you very much, and I will see you all next time. I bid you all adieu. Goodbye.